Kontake, Earth Keeper, Earth Keeper. Your feet are wet from many lands. Keep your heart clean, and you will see the unseen. Saishale, Wayakantake, carried over nations' water. Saishale. Hi, happy Friday. Farida Gipson Burtt here on New Heart Transformation, Soma Fusion Radio Network, and today I have an amazing guest for you. I know I wasn't live last week and I apologize, but here we are today live with Jeremy Mayer, who's an amazing sculptor. Jeremy, how are you?
Great, thanks. How about you?
Good. Thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you know that I've always admired your work, and as an artist myself, I am extremely curious what's behind those beautiful, actually my favorites are the birds and the people, like the ladies that are lounging. So how in the heck did you come to use typewriter parts to make these? They're just so live, they're so amazingly real.
So how I started making, as a kid, we had one of those old Underwood typewriters. I'll grab one. Underwood typewriters, like this style.
Wow.
Clunky cast iron. And we actually used it. I wrote papers on it. My mom would write letters on it. I was 10, so this was about 1982. And I'd type, this is when MTV came out. So I would sit on the floor of the trailer in the green shag carpet and type song lyrics from music videos on MTV. So one time I was typing and I'm kind of looking through the typewriter, and there was this video by Queen called Radio Gaga. And bits and pieces of Metropolis in it, edited into it. And I saw all that scenery as I was looking through the typewriter, and it occurred to me that that landscape was kind of inside the typewriter, that cityscape. And I had this really strong urge to take it apart. And I couldn't, because I was only 10. I didn't know how to do stuff like that. And my mom would have killed me. So I had to wait with that kind of itch. And I finally got a chance when I was in my early 20s. Somebody handed me a machine and a typewriter to bring to the thrift store. And I decided I was gonna at least take it apart, see if I could make something, see what was in there. But then I started making things and I kind of got hooked on it. So I've been doing it for 26 years.
Wow. And you're in your studio right now. I feel for those who can't see us, because there are some listeners who can't see us, but for those that can't see us, you can see Jeremy's work on, what's your webpage?
JeremyMayer.com. Mayer.
And so yeah, you should definitely check it out. But for those of us that can see, I see the lady behind you, and I would love to show her off just as a sample. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Is she like life size?
She's about bigger than life size, about 8 feet tall.
Wow. And what's her name?
Thea. Like the Greek Titaness, Poseidon's daughter.
Nice. And then the birds that you do are fascinating too. They have moving parts, and
I have one right here.
The praying mantis is amazing too.
Just birds.
Yeah, nice.
Things move.
So as I do these wood beings, And so I'm curious if yours, like, I would call it order you around or ask for certain things. Because when I see the piece of driftwood just without any additions on it, sometimes if I'm in the woods walking, it'll like yell at me, this, I want to go home, I want to be this, I want to, and then I'll take it home and I'll decorate it. So for me, watching, sometimes you go live on Instagram, and I, watching what you're doing in the studio, I'm wondering if like the parts talk to you, or the pieces, because they're beings.
I do most
Do
of the talking.
that's good.
I
You're
talk to
definitely,
them as inanimate objects, but
yeah.
sometimes when the sculpture becomes like when a human figure, when the face finally is done and arrives. And lately the test for that has been Snapchat filters. If the Snapchat filter works on one of the sculptures, on the face of the sculpture, then it's lifelike enough, for me. But also like
Wow.
kind of uncanny valley feeling looking at it, and it's either creepy or spooky, or it reminds me of somebody, or or looks like it's looking at me. That's when they are imbued with the kind of personality that I give them just in interacting with them.
Wow.
I have my like I have an acceptable threshold for a personality, like when it's done. The
Right.
birds not so much. The birds are just kind of straightforward. They have a little personality, and their eyes kind of twinkle a little bit, but
Oh yeah, they're not quite like the actual beings, the human forms or robot forms or whatever you want to call them. But, yeah, I was just also interested in your process too, because I guess some of them are planned out. I've seen sketches of some things that you do. Like now you're working on something way more, it seems more complex than human form.
yeah, they're a little different. So a figure like this, there's no armature in it. There's no frame. It's just typewriter parts put together without any soldering or welding, or it's just reassembled. So for these bigger abstractions, they're kind of based on the geometry of how things grow, like how flowers grow, how diatoms, small single-celled organisms, stuff like that grow. So this piece here, it's about 6 feet in diameter. Hold on, some better light. There we go. Here's another one. These are on a little frame. Where's one of the frames? There it is. Something like that. So I make this laser cut aluminum frame with a little crossbar on it.
Nice.
So I can hang it on the wall, and then I attach everything to that, and then I stick to my regular routine of just like if I were to solder or weld, I would burn the paint finish that's on the typewriters. I would burn, it'd be cut. And so I don't like that look of that. I like it to be like just raw mechanical. So I don't do any, grinding that you can see. If I do it, it's hidden, but most of the time I'm trying to just stick to the process of assembly, assembly and not having to go to the store and buy things. I don't know, like the whole idea is that I have everything I need right here to make art. I don't need to go buy stuff that's in a supply chain. Here's this stuff that is garbage somebody was going to throw away. A lot of people don't think typewriters are garbage necessarily. They should be saved or restored. But some are just garbage, it's a fact. So I get the ones that are on their way to dump. So like it's because I don't want to have to go to the art supply store and buy a canvas and brushes and paint, and or if I were a sculptor, like a traditional sculptor, to buy stone and wood and all the tools I need. All that stuff has a supply chain and
Right.
a certain amount of activity that has to happen to deliver that stuff to you. And I don't think art should participate necessarily. I mean, for me, I don't want to participate in that creatively. Like, I think you should just work with what you got laying around.
Right.
And
That's
see what you
amazing.
can.
It's a good way. And I know in the county that you're in, there's a ton of that.
Yeah.
I used to go and to the dump. They have that. Do they still have that at the dump there? They have that area for artists to salvage stuff. And then there's some other places around there. It's a huge community of artists. So it's super nice to have access
It's
to
a
exactly.
yeah. Sorry.
Huh?
What was that?
What were you saying?
I was going to say it's a big part of like Northern California art history. Also,
Yeah.
the art
Yeah.
movements that have come out of California in the last 40 years or so. There's a lot of it that has to do with working with what you've got.
Yeah. And then, I mean, just watching you work, it seems to be like a meditative process. Like what kind of zone do you get in? Like, where are you when you're I'm just fascinated by what you create. It's, your pieces are amazing. So I don't know what's going on.
It's a good question because it is kind of a zone. It's like a musicians do it, poets do it, athletes do it. You go to it. It's almost like a place, but it's you arrive at a meditative state where the only thing you're thinking about is what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You're having thoughts. It's very much like meditating in that the thoughts will come and dissipate because you're paying attention to what you're doing. And so that's the kind of groove I get into. And it's been important for me to try to manage how long I stay in that kind of state, because it's possible to not go pee for 10 hours
Right.
if you're not paying attention to what kind of groove you're in. So
Yeah.
I try not to go any longer than like 3 hours without stopping, resting, getting something to eat, taking a break.
Setting a timer or just setting your natural timer that you're only going to do.
Time I get sore, or if I don't know if you want me to swear on here, but right about the time I say the F word, I figure if I'm getting to that point, if I'm not frustrated, then I should probably stop, take a break.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because I've seen the bits and pieces and parts. There's like tiny little things and a huge pile over there and then one over there. And then this piece is talking and that piece is, well, your pieces don't talk, but mine do.
Talk to them. Talk to them.
Yeah, you talk to them.
Yeah, like, hey, what are you doing over
there? Yeah, it's I don't know. I want to try and like relate that to just presence, and how one lives their life in the same way. I mean, because I don't know what you do other than that. I know you have a family, but like translating it into what you're doing in your daily,
Yeah, it's a perfect analog to how I live the rest of my life. How I think about things, how I approach just day-to-day life, what I think is important, all that stuff's rolled up into doing this thing. It wasn't about a career choice. It wasn't about a gimmick to make me money. It was all kind of rolled up into this activity. But the activity is meant to be, like taken like a book or a play or piece of music, like not a product, but my best statement at whatever this is, whatever the world is. So this was the activity that I decided was what I wanted to do the most. But it's it's kind of become my own little religion for myself.
Right. Yeah. And just that my cat is being crazy right now. But just that it came from that curiosity as a little boy, and so you're able to still carry that. So that's like a sacred space to be in, the little boy who has all these parts and all these things that, the adventure of the process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that adventure continues after 25 years of doing this.
Right.
No, there's no drudgery. It's never boring. I never dread it. It's always fun. It's always interesting.
That's nice.
A weird thing to discover.
Fortunate thing to discover, like super blessed. Super blessed. So you didn't go to school, you just took apart typewriter and started this?
Well, yeah, I took apart the typewriter, and at that time my ex-wife was working on her master's in painting when we were still together. So she was working in the studio, finishing her MA, and I'd never gone to college. So I just kind of started working for her professors on their public works projects. And I was making architectural adornments and Hindu deities, things like that. So instead of going to art school, I just went to work for sculptors. So I have art, traditional art training, lots of technical training, mold making, carving, and drawing. And I've always been an illustrator in some way or another. And I started selling my work when I was like 14.
Nice.
So I was doing work, and I already kind of knew what I wanted to do, or I was willing to make that discovery myself without any outside intervention, or willing to do that without going to art school, or I should have gone to business school.
Yeah, but it seems like you seem to be doing just fine, because what found you is quite unique, and it seems to have provided very well for you.
Yeah, it gets me to the next month every month.
That's all you really need, I guess. The trusting in them and what you were designed to create. Do you feel like that's what you were designed to do?
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it'd be a waste to do something else at this point, having done this for so long.
Right.
There are probably other things I could do, but this is still fun.
That's great.
And I have, I don't know if you can see how many typewriters I have. I have a lot of typewriters, keep me busy for a long time. So you can see.
Oh, wow. The stash.
It's just part of the stash too, actually.
Wow.
There's a bit more. And then this is the big stash here.
Oh, wow.
And a bunch more over there. So I have plenty of stuff to work with for a long time. And yeah, it's crazy how you just do the work and things fall into place.
Well, and that's like the perfect analogy for, like, what I started this radio show for, is like, it's kind of that idea of, if you allow it, it'll come. So if you make the space for it, it's already there, and it'll arrive. Once you have arrived, it will say, hey, I've always been here, and check this out. This is what we're doing. So like, that's what, I'm finding about life is, sorry, I went out because Kitty took me out. But
Production assistant.
yeah, she's not a very good videographer. But yeah, just taking the time and really checking in with what you want to create. Like, that 10-year-old guy that you were was just very curious. And I mean, I don't think he ever would have imagined what he's created.
Maybe.
Maybe he does. Maybe he is present there.
I think I still kind of make the stuff that I would have made with Legos when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Some sci-fi stuff. So kind of jives with stuff that interests me. Like insects or little robots.
Right.
Themselves. So yeah, I think. And there are a lot of projects I'm working on that I've been working on for about 30 years. This one, for instance, you hear the bells.
Yeah.
I did this drawing when I was 19.
Right.
And it's supposed to be me when I'm like 70, or my dad. And it was kind of based on some things I had, ideas I had about technology. And now I almost kind of look like that guy. It's kind of a good guess about what I would look like. But the ideas kind of stuck with me. So I'm trying to make things with that same kind of aesthetic. Like there's a project I'm working on. It's kind of like that. It's like a techno baroque head. But yeah, some of these ideas have been. I'm still kind of that same kid, playing with Legos. But it's like the most complex and varied Lego set.
Right.
Period.
So what is your Instagram for people who might want to get on and see your stuff and watch you live? And
It's Jeremy Mayer, all one word.
You make it very simple for us.
Yes, JEREMYMAYER.
It's perfect. Well, yeah, I just really wanted to tap in with you and connect on where this all started, and yeah, just introduce my listeners to your work. And I don't know if there's anything that you were thinking you wanted to say while you were on here that I might have missed, or anything you want to add to what we've already talked about.
No. Those are good questions.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I like to keep it simple and easy because I don't like to sit and listen to things for a long time, but there's so many people that I admire that I feel grateful that they say yes to come and just chit chat for, between half hour and an hour. And, hopefully somebody out there is listening and enjoying what we create in this time space. And I look forward to getting out there sometime to check out where you are and stuff, and say hello. It's been a while since I've seen you, many moons.
I moved away from Tahoe 11 years ago.
It seems like longer, but yeah.
It does seem like longer.
Yeah. And that's just funny that you moved where I was.
Changed places.
Yeah, we switched.
On Tahoe too. We grew up
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Well,
both
again,
nice places.
huh? We're
So
both what?
they're both really nice places.
Yeah, they are both very magic and full of um, great artists. This, I don't know if you've been following or not, but Sarah Smith up here, she's like helped to create a tight-knit community of artists up here. It's great. And I just recently got my studio for the healing work that I do and for the hypnotherapy, and I get to display my own artwork, which is fun.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sarah's always been part of like the art scene up in especially North Shore.
Mm-hmm.
North
Yeah,
Shore.
she's still here. Still here, owns a different house, and is doing really well for herself. It's great.
Cool. It's good to hear.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for being here today, and I'm gonna sign off. If you want to hang out for a second, or if you want to go, that's cool too. But I'll be here again next Friday with somebody else, I think. I don't know. Haven't really decided what I'm doing, but cheers. And
Thanks for having me.
yeah, until next week.